Okay, so we're going to get started today by just having an overview of Into Literature, and we're going to look at the organization and the components of the program, and we'll get into more detail as we move throughout the training today. So first, if y'all could turn to page 8 in your PLG, and this page gives you a brief description of all of the key features of Into Literature. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to read through them, and as you're reading through, if you could mark features as you go along with a star if you feel like you're already familiar with that feature, with a question mark if you feel like you have a question about that feature, and then with an exclamation point if you're excited or ready to use any of these features. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. Okay, great job. If y'all could take a couple of minutes to look next to you and talk to your partner about what you were excited about, what you were familiar about, what you had questions about. I'm going to walk around as y'all are talking and kind of listen to your conversations and see what y'all are excited to use. Alright, those were some great conversations, and I did hear some questions come up as I was moving around. Most likely throughout the training, as we go deeper into these features, I will answer your questions. But if I don't, I just want to remind you that you have the parking lot available to you on your table, where you can take a post-it note and write a question and put it there, and at one of our breaks, our lunch break, I'll take a look at these questions, and I'll make sure that I answer your question today before we leave. Real quick, I did want to address the similarities between collections and Into Literature, if you're familiar with collections. So how many teachers in here have used collections, or you're familiar with collections? Okay, a few, great. So a few things that are similar and then improved upon. First of all, the close reading feature. So in collections, you have the close reader, and that consumable nature is built into Literature. Also, the guided support, the close reading practice, all of those features are also in the Into Literature program. The language study is going to be weaved through instruction in Into Literature, and it's going to be included in the end of unit writing assessments, as well as in the Grammar Studio, which is on the online platform Ed, which we'll talk a little bit about later. The writing support is going to be expanded with better graphic organizers to support drafting. There is guidance throughout the writing process, and then there's also built-in peer review. And then finally, the new learning management system, or the new online platform Ed. It is streamlined and user-friendly, and it's going to give students the opportunity for remediation and teachers the opportunity to access data that they can actually use to improve instruction. All right, if y'all will take a look at page 9 in your PLG, we're going to talk briefly about learning mindset. So learning mindset is based on the research of Dr. Carol Dweck. Is anybody here familiar with learning mindset or Dr. Carol Dweck? Okay, and what about social emotional learning and the role that that plays in the classroom? Okay, great. So when I was teaching, I learned a lot and heard a lot about social emotional learning, but I wasn't ever really sure how I could integrate it into the curriculum that I had to teach. With Into Literature, learning mindset is integrated into the curriculum for you. So it's going to address that social and emotional need of our students. It's important to remember that many of our students, particularly if we're at the secondary level because they've been in school so many years, are going to come to us thinking that they can't do our content. How many times have you given a beginning of the year inventory and had a student say, I'm not good at English, or I'm not good at reading, or I don't like to read, or I can't do it, or I never do well in this subject? And so we want to try to help students learn how to change their mindset from I can't to I can't do it yet, but I could with hard work and practice. And that's what learning mindset is all about. It's taking that attitude and changing it and believing that you can do something if you're willing to do the hard work. One example that I like to give about learning mindset is when I was teaching in a district that required students to be able to retest if they wanted to. So if they didn't do well on a quiz or a test, they could come and take it again. And in our department, we decided to adjust that a little bit and do corrections instead of retest, because we felt like corrections addressed the problem of I didn't get it the first time, but maybe if I go back and look at it again and get some explanation and study some more and review, then I'll get it the next time. So again, that idea of the first time isn't the last time, and it's okay to fail when we're learning. And as long as we're willing to put in some hard work, we can get better. So I can get better at English. And again, that's really built in for you, and we're going to explore that more today in our training. Right now, if y'all would look at the bottom of page 9 in your PLG, and let's just take a few minutes to reflect on how you could foster a learning mindset in your own classroom.